But it's certainly a great honor for me to be able to ask to present my former point guard, Kenny Anders, into the Lynn University Hall of Fame. Kenny becomes just the third men's basketball player in the history of the university to join the Hall of Fame, so it's a big night for him. It's so good to see so many of Kenny's family and friends and coaches here, and certainly a huge night for you, Kenny. Just to give you a little history, I'll be brief, but a little history on Kenny Anders. Kenny went to Dwyer High School in West Palm Beach, Florida, back in 1995, when a lot of you weren't even born yet. My former assistant coach, Rob Wilkes, came to me and said, look, there's a young man that's really special at Dwyer, you need to go see him. And at the time I looked at him and I said, you know, we've been successful with so many transfers, we haven't had a lot of high school guys, are you sure this is the right thing to do? So I went and saw him, and obviously after seeing him was 100% convinced that this would be a great guy for our program. And it's kind of ironic, our number one selling point to Kenny, and he'll tell you this, was that no, we don't have a lot of freshmen in our program, but you have an opportunity to come here and be a four-year guy and be one of the greatest players to ever play at Lynn. And it's really cool how that came about and came true as a member of the Hall of Fame. We signed Kenny. There's two signing periods in our sports and basketball. One is in November, one is in April. It's very rare to sign a men's basketball player in Division II in November. We were fortunate enough to sign Kenny in November, and there weren't a lot of rules back then. And I actually spent more time from November to when school started trying to fight people away from him once he committed to us and convince him this was a place to be. So we're certainly pleased when he finally stepped on campus. And after doing so, I think the numbers speak for itself. Kenny led Lynn University. He was a two-time first-team All-Sunshine State Conference player, led Lynn University to 2 Sweet 16s and one Final Four in 96-97. With a record of 28-3, we lost in the Final Four. Just an amazing year, and still to this day is the only team to ever go to the Final Four in the first year of eligibility for NCAA. So just a really big thing that we were able to accomplish, and Kenny was certainly a huge part of that. Unfortunately, I left going into Kenny's junior year. He wasn't very happy with me. Called me a few times, but managed to stay, and things worked out great for him. When I came back to Lynn 5 years ago, Kenny called me and said, Coach, how you doing? I said, good. He said, look, there's a point guard up here I want you to look at Dwyer, really good player. And I said, really, who is it? He said, it's my son. And immediately that depressed me, knowing that one of my former point guards wanted me now to recruit his son. That's how long it had been. But just a huge night for Kenny, and really happy to be able to present him. So without further ado, I'd like Kenny to come up, one of my all-time favorites. I've been doing this 37 years, and one of my all-time favorite guys. Kenny. Walk it like I talk it. Take my shoes and walk a mile, something that you can't do.
First of all, I want to give glory to God. Thanks again, Coach Brett. I want to recognize Lynn University for accepting me here, first of all, and also let me recognize my wife, Jody. Will you stand, please? I want to recognize my kids, KJ, Kenneth Jr. He's over there. Stand. Kevin. My daughter, she's not here. She's in Tampa. She's working, Jasmine. My other son, Jairus. And then also I have my twins over there, Coach Price. I hope you'll be around. They're only 7 years old. Kaden and Casey. I want to go ahead and thank my mom and dad, Betty and Harry Anders. They're both looking down, and I'm sure they're proud of me. They did a good job. I want to take you back to when I got introduced to college basketball. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I ended up getting suspended from school for being, energetic, hyper, but some people just call it bad. So that's probably what I was. 3 rules when you got suspended in the house was, you clean, you take something out for mom to cook, and you had to watch her daytime stories. Well, I got 2 of the 3 done. Just so happened, I got suspended in March. one day. So we all know what happens in March, right? College basketball, March Madness. So I wasn't able to let her know what the story detail was. It was God Light and All My Children is what she's like to watch. So she got home, I said, well, Mom, you know, I clean, I cook. I mean, not cook, but I took something out for dinner. And I said, well, can't tell you what came on the stories today, Mom. It was nothing but basketball on. She said, oh, it's that time of the year. I said, yeah. So I say, one day, Mom, I want to play college basketball. And my family knows my mom. She's very blunt, don't care about hurting your feelings. She looked at me, she said, boy, I can barely afford to send you to public school. You talking about college? You better get out there and earn a scholarship. So I went back to my little league coach, Coach Clark, asked him how I work. He said, dedication, hard work. Coach Price, I want to thank you for allowing me to achieve my goal. Give me a second. I want to go ahead and thank Lynn University for accepting me again. I want to thank Dwyer High School, some staff and players. First of all, I'm going to thank Brian Justine. He was one of my teammates at Dwyer High School. I want to thank Mr. Long, which was my principal at Dwyer High School. I want to thank Mr. Downtown Brown, my history teacher at Dwyer High School. It was great role models. I want to thank Godfather, Ronnie Rainey, great workout partner during the summer, which was Gary McKinnon. I also want to thank Anthony Goldwire, which was, he was a pro. He played with the Nuggets at the time, and I was still in school. And that's who I got a chance to work out with every summer, which was an NBA ball player, which was great. Jaron Jones, he was one of my teammates here. He's the cousin of Eddie Jones. He and I played one-on-ones. Do they still have the outside basketball courts back here? They still have, well, me and Jaron went out there almost every night, played one-on-ones. I think we never finished the game because we went to arguing, fussing, and fighting about a call. But, where you at? Jaron, you back there? There you go, Jaron. We never finished the one-on-one. We may try it tonight. He old, I'm old, so we may get to something. I don't know what it may be. But last but not least, I want to thank somebody that's really, you know, dear to my heart here, man. Coach Fred Ross. Will you please stand? That's my high school basketball coach. I owe you a great deal, Coach. You taught me how to be a student to the game, how to dedicate myself to the sport, and sportsmanship. I don't know how much I want to thank you for all the 5-hour practices we had. You know, the one Thanksgiving morning at 5 a.m. practice we had. And we just thought it was crazy, but not knowing really what he was doing for us. And right after that practice, and we sit in practice, we're trying to figure out why is this man got us at practice Thanksgiving morning? Doesn't he have a family? We have a family we want to go sit down with, but not knowing that he was showing us love, and that's what he was there for. So after practice, he sat and asked every teammate, what are you having for Thanksgiving? So we all told him, we bragging, yeah, my mom cooking turkey stuffing, and each dish, he made each one of us run 2 suicides per dish. Now, mind you, I was a four-year player on varsity. I learned my lesson after about the second one. But this year, we all ganged up and said, you know what? Since he loved us so much, we're going to his house for Thanksgiving. So it was about 5 of us. We packed up, got to the house, knocked on the door. Coach Ross looked out the window. We waving. He closed the curtain. We heard Miss Ross say, well, Fred, who was that at the door? He says, nobody. She come to the door, thank you, Miss Ross, for letting us in. So we came in and had a good time with him for a few minutes before we kicked us out. Not knowing his whole point of that was, if you plan on going to the next level, you have to start treating your body right and eating right. We didn't know that at 18, we just thought it was crazy. With that being said, Coach, thank you for everything. One thing you would always do and say during drills, you're not fooling me. You can't fool your teammates. But what you put in it is what you get out of it. Coach, we got a Hall of Famer here now. Thank you, everyone.